Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is Rob Rosa. Hopefully, your favorite real estate broker. That's right, my friends. If you recognize that sound, I'll do it one more time. If you recognize that sound, you might have buyer's remorse. Now, I'm going to tell you very straightforwardly. I had a wonderful holiday season. Yes, sometimes there are little bumps in the road. Sometimes things happen that you think you might have been able to do differently. But for the most part, it was a pretty good, right? It was a pretty good holiday season. However, many of us have buyer's remorse. That's right. Buyer's remorse is all about when that wonderful holiday spirit, the one that when you were driving somewhere in this big, busy parking lot and you were getting out of your car and you heard that bell ringing and you're walking into the stores. And sometimes it's not always stores for food, sometimes it's stores for presents. And then you say, well, you know what? I deserve this for me. Um, it's Christmas time. I should get this present that's even more expensive and more better and different than the next person. It's Christmas time. But guess what? When the holiday spirit moves on, maybe December 26th, who knows, depending on what holiday you celebrate. But when that holiday spirit starts moving on, it hits your wallet and your home. So let's talk about that. Now, it's been the most wonderful time of the year, right? We had carols on the radio. We have our wonderful cookies, Christmas cookies. We have some of those awesome peppermint lattes in our hand. Oh my gosh, there was twinkling lights everywhere, right? And what do you think was happening? We were buying into it, and it was a great scenario this year. Well, let me tell you a story about Sarah and Tom. So Sarah and Tom, they were deep, and I mean deep in the holiday spirit. And this year was going to be that extra special year for them. Okay. Why? Because they were finally homeowners. They had just closed on their first home. It was a charming brick house with a wraparound porch, and it was going to be perfect for their family for this Christmas and all the future Christmases. Or so they thought. Okay. So, first of all, what happened is the snowball effect of holiday cheer started going into place. The house was love at first sight. It even had a fireplace with custom molding, with a mantle, which Sarah could envision with stockings and garlands hanging off it. And Tom dreamed of setting up a towering Christmas tree by the bay window. We can totally make this work, Tom said, ignoring the fact that their budget, oh man, that word that nobody likes to hear during the holiday season, you know which word I'm talking about. Their budget was already stretched tighter than Santa's belt after a cookie binge on Christmas Eve. In their holiday euphoria, they waived contingencies faster than they could sing jingle bells and signed the papers without a second thought. Who had time to worry about inspections? Who had time to double check their budget? Who had time to figure out, wait, are we going to be able to really afford this house? God forbid something happens to our current income. Well, my friends, that was right after Thanksgiving time, and Christmas was just around the corner. So let's fast forward to mid December. The moving truck had barely pulled away when reality set in like a snowstorm. It was called the fireplace surprise. Sarah tried lighting a fire on their first night that it was cold, only for smoke to billow into the living room. So please remember, if you buy a house with a fireplace with a chimney, either have it checked and or try it with just one of those little Duracell, oh my gosh, Duraflame logs, okay, to make sure that the chimney is not going to be blocked. And they found out, poor Sarah and Tom, that fixing it was going to cost as much as their holiday gift budget. Now they decided to make the best of it. They were a young couple and they said, guess what? You know what? We can do this. We can handle this. Well, the next surprise came. And that is when Tom's job decided no longer to have him be able to do overtime. Now, Tom and Sarah, they relied on this money. They were living regularly off of overtime. And so Tom basically looked at his savings account and it was as empty as Santa's sack after Christmas Eve, my friends. So between buying gifts, throwing the housewarming party, splurging on holiday decor, splurging on gifts for themselves, and not managing their money, not paying attention to having a basic budget. Well, what do you think happened? Their dreams slowly started to drift away. They could not they were not able to move forward on the things that they wanted, those material things, my friends. And the kicker is, once that first electricity bill arrived, let's just say running Christmas lights on every square inch of the house was not the best financial decision. So on that first night, it was not so silent. You see, that one snowy evening, Sarah and Tom sat in their undecorated living room, staring at their drooping Christmas tree, looking at the bills piling up. And Sarah broke the silence. Did we just buy a money pit? Did we spend more than we could have or than we should have? And Tom sighed and said, you know what, Sarah? We got caught up in the holiday spirit, but we forgot the first rule of Christmas. Christmas is not about the material things. It's not about all these presents under the tree. In fact, what are we really celebrating when we celebrate Christmas? Whose birthday is Christmas? Who should be receiving presents during Christmas? Now, from what I've read and listened to, I understand that Christ should be receiving the gifts, and all he's really looking for is your love, right? Is your gratitude. So they got caught up in this experience, and they looked at each other, and half out of exhaustion and half because they had no other choice, they laughed, right? And they thought about it and they said, we can and will do much better, my friends. So you see, we can turn buyer's remorse into a holiday miracle, right? So determined to not let their first Christmas in their new home be a total disaster, Sarah and Tom decided to focus on what matters most, each other, right? Making that budget, being responsible adults, scaling back just a little bit because they have a plan on maybe some holiday plans, maybe not getting all of those over the top decorations, and maybe even patching up those drafty windows so that they can save a little bit of money until spring. Now, I see some of your comments. Hey, I'm broke. I celebrate Hanukkah, right? I know some of you celebrate Hanukkah, some of you celebrate Kwanzaa, and some of you celebrate Christmas. Maybe some of you don't celebrate any of these things. But if we take a look at buyer's remorse and what is going on during these holiday seasons, we have to understand, right, that it doesn't have to be a total disaster. So by the time, getting back to Sarah and Tom, by the time Christmas morning arrived, the house wasn't perfect. But guess what? It was theirs. They owned this house. Do you get it? They are not paying money to someone else to make that landlord richer. Now, don't get me wrong. I can be in many cases pro landlord and in many cases pro tenant, but I still think it's better to own your own home and build some wealth that way than to pay someone else. So buying that home basically can feel like an ultimate gift, but if you let your emotions, you let your holiday spending get the best of you, whether it's a house, whether it's an inflatable Santa, whether it's too many of these, my friends, right? Remember, you could have a difficult time in the month of January. So plan wisely, spend thoughtfully, and when in doubt, most of all, make sure that you get an excellent real estate advisor like myself. So that's the Christmas story of Sarah and Tom. I don't know if it's going to be a bestseller, but I do know that I wanted to share it with you. I hope you are having a wonderful holiday season. It's not over yet, but think ahead. Don't have that buyer's remorse. And I can promise you, you will be happier in the next couple of weeks, especially when those credit card bills come in. So God bless you, my friends. Have an awesome day. This is Rob Rosa. Hopefully, your favorite real estate broker. Signing out, and we'll talk to you later.